Chapter 12. 8:43 a.m. Jade bent over, coughing too hard. "Got your inhaler?" I asked. She gave me a killer side eye, but pulled out her inhaler and took a puff and stuffed it back into her pocket, which I took to mean she didn't completely hate me. Alex frowned. "Don't you need 2 puffs?" "No, I don't. And what's it to you anyway? Christ!" Jade hugged herself tight against the wind and coughed some more and took another puff. "Happy now?" "My little sister Izzy has asthma." Alex's eyes twinkled, highlighting gold flecks I hadn't noticed before. "She just turned 10. She hates taking her inhaler, too." "Okay, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not your sister." Jade stared at the cabin and shook her head. "It's all gone. I can't believe it." A tear trickled down her cheek. She angrily wiped it away. The towering pine tree next to the cabin was reduced to a black skeleton. Embers rained down on the cabin as chunks of the wall burned up and left gaping holes. The wind rushed around the trees, sending sparks flying. Snow fell through the gaps in the ceiling, sizzling as it touched the flames. The whole place stunk of smoke and ash and disappointment. It looked like a war zone. Black stains brushed the walls and tiny sparks flickered on and off like glowworms. As the fire continued its relentless dance of destruction, there was nothing we could do, not even call for help, only watch as the cabin crackled and moaned, turning into ash and rubble right before our eyes. When Mom and Oliver saw this, we'd be so dead. No, I'd be dead. "What were you doing out there on the back deck?" "Why didn't you run out the front?" I asked. "When the pine cone exploded, the rug caught fire, so I ran for the fire extinguisher. But by then the flames had spread, so I figured I'd make sure the telescope was safe, because by then you'd both fucking be there to help me." Jade jutted her chin. Alex and I exchanged worried glances. "I know, I'm so sorry. It won't ever happen again." "What a stupid thing to say. At least you got your inhaler." "Really? That's what you take from this?" Jade shivered under her puffer jacket. My knees wobbled slightly. "We all got out." Alex squeezed Jade's shoulders. "We're alive. No injuries. Could have been a lot worse. We could have died." My adrenaline left me shaking. I twisted my soot-stained hair out of the way. Part of me wanted to get away from this as fast as possible, so I wouldn't have to face the parents. The other part wanted them to swoop in and take control, but they wouldn't, because this was the beginning of a blizzard warning, and everyone except us was sheltering in place. Jade suddenly darted toward the cabin. "The telescope, it's probably still in there." "Too late," said Alex. "The case smashed. There was glass all over the floor." "I smashed it by accident when I was getting the telescope out." She ran down the side steps. "Wait!" I raced after her. "Watch out for the—" A piece of burning wood clattered by her feet. "Where are you going?" "Back deck," Jade yelled. "That's where I left it. It's just a telescope." I finally reached her. Nothing's worth that much money." "I just want to see," Jade paused, "if it's in one piece." "Where is it?" asked Alex, catching up to us. From the back of the cabin looked like a burnt shell. Even the downstairs flickered with flames. The only thing left, virtually intact, was the scaffolding that held the upper deck up. And weirdly, the deck itself. And there, glinting through the deck's floor beams, was the telescope. "There!" Jade pointed at the bronze canister rolling across the floor. "If it means that much to you, I'll see if I can get it." Alex shivered in his jacket. "Seriously, it's insured and it's not worth getting injured for," I said. "We'll tell the fire department to search for it when they get here. We should keep moving before we freeze to death. Not that it would be worth surviving if Mom knew what I'd just destroyed." "It's priceless," said Jade. "It doesn't look totally ruined." She glanced at Alex. Alex checked his phone. "No signal. No one's coming to help. It's all going to burn." He raked his hand through his hair. I'm going for it." He grabbed hold of the supporting beam like he was going to climb up. The whole thing wobbled. Otis barked with excitement. "Leave it. It's not worth the risk." "It would make things worse if that was possible." Jade watched Alex's efforts, biting her bottom lip so hard it started bleeding. Just this one thing. If we can save this, you don't need things to remember people. The people you love stay in your heart forever, I said. No matter how much you'd like them not to, I thought. The photo I'd trashed before Mom and I left San Francisco. Dad's face crumpled in my fist. Love and hate forever battling in my heart. It was amazing. It all still worked with all those scars. It's not Dad's. He'll get fired for bringing it here. Jade's teeth chattered as she spoke. Oh, so much for sisterly comfort. Jade turned to Alex. Can you reach it? I can try it. I'm lighter. That beam will collapse. They both stood on their tiptoes looking at it. There was no way to safely reach it. At least it's not going anywhere, Alex pointed out. It'll just be covered in snow. The snow fell faster. Jade stamped her feet. I hugged myself. Otis went for a pee against a pine tree. There was nothing else to say. The smells, the texture, the things. Paintings chosen together on road trips, their photographs, the story of their life as a family. Gone. I'm sorry about everything, but we can't stay here. The storm's only gonna get worse. Blizzard worse. The radio warning spiraled around my brain. You don't know that. You don't know anything about Tahoe. Jade pulled her hood tighter. Trust me, I do. More than I wanted to. We've got to find shelter fast. True, said Alex, unless your parents get back really soon. They're not coming back. There's a blizzard warning and a shelter-in-place alert. I blurted out. My heart sunk at their sun faces. I heard it on the radio. I didn't want to freak you out after all this. On the radio, Jade's mouth dropped. You had the radio I was looking for? What else are you hiding? That's what you were keeping from us in the bathroom, said Alex. When were you going to tell us? I just did. I wasn't the only one keeping secrets. If the cabin hadn't burnt down, we'd all be safe inside, and it wouldn't have changed anything. It would have changed everything. I can't believe you, pretending our parents will be back soon. Yeah, you should have told us, Alex agreed. We could have been gathering more fuel for the fire instead of waiting for people that you knew weren't coming. Well, you were going to steal shit and run off with those guys anyways. It's not all out in the open. I was not. Otis barked and jumped up at Alex. The wind howled around the ruins. It's too cold to fight, said Jade. We should stay in the garage. It might be okay. It's got a fire door. I looked over at it. The door may have held, but the roof was ruined. Snow blew in through the gaps in the beams and landed on the out-of-power Tesla. That car had been wrecked fast. Alex shook his head. It's too dangerous. This whole place could collapse on us. Are there any cabins close by? Neighbors? I knew the answer, but asked anyways. Jade shook her head. We should head to the nearest fire station to get warm and tell them to save the telescope. They must have seen the smoke from it if they're that close. So if they didn't, maybe the station is on the other side of the mountain. I mean, they've got to have a bunch of fire stations out here for all the seasonal wildfires, right? I asked. The station could be 10 miles away, Alex pointed. They get help from outside when it's peak fire season. There's one a short car ride away. Dad used to take me when I was little. They gave me red plastic fire hats. Jade walked to the end of the driveway. It's this way. Obviously, she'd know. Otis trotted at his side as if he'd been there before. Well, get there fast enough for them to come back and save the telescope, said Alex, running to catch up before anyone else comes to find it, he mumbled, making eye contact with me. Either way, you get shelter and safety, so win-win, right? And don't feel like you have to talk on the way. Jade set off in front, leaving the stream of icy air as she wake. This was far from a win-win, but there was nothing we could do, so I sighed and pulled my hood tight, taking one last look at the smoldering cabin before stepping into the bleak, snowy horizon. Chapter 13, 9:51 a.m. The snow was falling faster. Shaking it off my hood didn't cut it anymore. I pulled the drawstrings tight, not caring that I looked like a demented goblin. Wind would blow straight through the new holes in the roof and back wall of the cabin. The settling snow would turn into puddles and dampness, then mold. The smell would linger for weeks. It would take months and thousands of dollars to fix the place back up, all because I threw a stupid pine cone on the fire. This was so messed up. My heart pounded in my ears. Mom was right. I was a total screw-up. Guilt burrowed its way into my chest, heavy and swollen. I stumbled along faster. "Where's Alex?" I said, suddenly realizing it was just me and Jade. "There," Jade pointed in front of us, checking the direction. It's harder to tell when it's snowy. "Hey," said Alex as we caught up to him. "North is this way, Jade. You said the fire station's near North Star, right?" She huddled her jacket and nodded while stamping her feet up and down. "Okay, so you're right. We are super close," he said. "It's like it was a big adventure, not a gigantic catastrophic event. Though I guess guys who break into cabins looking for stuff to steal live every day on the edge." Alex walked between me and Jade while Otis ran ahead, stopping every other tree and barking as if to hurry us. The farther we got from the cabin, the more he treated us like sheep, herding us along. Nobody spoke. Jade coughed every now and then, pretending it was nothing. Alex kept staring, starting to say something and then not. And I focused ahead so I didn't have to meet anyone else's eyes. The light was so tinged with yellowish pink, like a dull bruise. It was so quiet, just our clumping feet, the cracks of branches, and the occasional swearing as we slipped or stumbled our way along, getting our boots stuck in snowdrifts or sinking to our hips in hidden snow traps. No birds, no scurrying chipmunks, no planes, no cars, no people, no life, just snow falling, falling, falling. We trudged in silence, lost in our own thoughts, heads bent against the wind, just step, crunch, and freeze. When we thought we'd heard something, I looked up at the blanket of clouds. My forehead ached. The ibuprofen had long worn off. The telescope had to be ruined already. We just needed to get somewhere warm. I looked out for any other cabins while shaking the flurries from my face. It was getting harder to see as the wind kicked up. Powder that was so soft, nestled on the ground, was blown into spirals of ice. It was like walking through a snow globe. My eyes tingled. The ends of my fingers were numb. I rubbed them together, blowing on them. It worked for a second. "How far, Jade?" she huffed. "I don't know. Walking in snow takes longer." I know that. I had no clue where we were, but I had an excuse. This was my first time there. You know Tahoe is so well, but you can't find your way to the firehouse. There's a blizzard warning, and you didn't think to tell us? Touche. Jade's #blackbirders beanie was flecked with snow. She kept shaking her head from the cold and knocking her puffer jacket hood down. Not that I cared. "It can't be much longer," Alex said unconvincingly. "See those trees?" I nodded. "We follow the road beyond them until it goes right for Truckee. The firehouse has got to be there." At least he knew where we were going, or was good enough at lying to convince us. I was too tired and cold to be bothered answered. Alex smiled at Jade. "We'll warm up once we get there." Jade gave a small smile back. It must be nice to be in the best friends club. I trudged along silently, watching Alex and Jade bounce against each other as they walked. I walked slower, watching the distance grow between us. I could slip off, find my own shelter. They wouldn't even notice, wouldn't care. They'd be fine together, and I'd be fine alone. No one to be disappointed. I looked up. They'd stop, waiting for me to catch up. "You finally made it." Jade kicked a snow pile. An explosion of crystal shimmered. "Thought you were in a rush." I didn't bother reply. Each breath was a little harder than the last. Even though we were heading downhill, I hadn't expected her to be so hilly. Which was stupid of me, seeing as we were in the mountains, the cold was biting, ragged, numbing. Thank God for the pines blocking the full force of the wind, pointing boldly to the clouds. We passed a row of them, then it was black whiteness gust of snow blowing in our faces. White clouds, white snow, white sticks. "A pole," I said, scampering over, grabbing at the red painted end, which was sticking out of a pile of snow. A lot had come down already. The blizzard hadn't even started yet. This must be the main road. The poles show the snowplow where the road is. They only do that with mountain routes. we're on the right track, said Alex, as if we might not have been the whole time. Let's stop for a second, I panted by the tree, blinking away the stars that appeared before me. Water, I held out my hand. Jade shook. You finished it back there, remember? I grabbed a handful of snow and sucked on it. It cut my lips and stuck to my cracked skin. It took ages to get a little water from it. The hot cocoa from breakfast was so long ago. No wonder I felt dizzy. You shouldn't do that. It lowers your body temperature, said Alex. Yes, well, if it's this or die of dehydration, a little more, just to spite him. You have to eat a tiny bit at a time. Jade picked up a chunk and nibbled on it, like this. When did you two suddenly become experts? I asked. I didn't suddenly become one. It comes with loving nature and being outside, Jade said. You can learn a lot from people who share interests. Right, I guess I never had any. I felt like a bitch as soon as I said it, but doubled down. And didn't remind me you're a friggin' Eagle Scout, I said to Alex. He nodded, knowing better than to speak right then. As well as being a liar and a charming manipulator, I suppose he did save me from a burning fire. What blessed company I have. I pulled my jacket tighter. I was a Girl Guide once. Girl Guide? Alex asked. That's the Brit version of being a Girl Scout. I can't imagine that, said Alex. Tell me something, Girl Guide. I only went to 2 meetings. Ha! He laughed. But they kicked you out. Something like that. Mom had signed up for me to go so she could go out on dates while I went to the meetings. She went on 2 dates. I was a Girl Guide for 2 hours. And for both of us, the experiences were a disaster. Then we moved again. So that was the end of that. I hung my head and carried on, crunching softly on the snow. Okay, that was it for now. Come back for chapter 14 and 15.